All right, if you guys are watching this, it's because you're in Algebra 1, and it's week 22, which is the first week of February, coming back from winter break. So we're going to get into the introduction of graphing inequalities. This is just the basics. I want to review with you what each symbol means, and then the pink writing is basically telling you what type of line you're going to have, what boundary line you're going to have when you eventually graph your inequality. So this symbol represents greater than, this symbol represents greater than or equal to, this symbol is less than, this symbol is less than or equal to. Now when you graph your actual boundary line, when you graph this line, if it doesn't have an equal sign, you're going to have a dotted line. You're no longer just going to draw a line if it's an inequality without an equal sign. If it has an equal sign on the bottom, then you would draw a solid line if it has that equal sign on the bottom. So the boundary line is either dotted or solid. You only have those two options. And then remember that when you're solving an inequality, if it's not in like that y equals mx plus b form, you just have to remember that anytime you multiply or divide by a negative, you have to actually flip the inequality. So for instance, like here, if I had like negative y right here, I would have to divide by -1 on everything. And if I divide by -1, since I divided, I have to flip this inequality from less than to greater than. Okay? And for those of you who are watching this video, I am recording in our class, and so that's why there might be a little bit of background noise, but everybody's trying their best to just stay quiet. Okay, so let's go ahead and just graph this. So we're going to graph this as if we were graphing an equation in y equals mx plus b, because I have y completely isolated, and I have my x is supposed to be here. I forgot to write the x. And then my y-intercept is right here. So my y-intercept is 0, -5, and my slope is -3/4. That means I'm going to go down 3, right 4, after I plot my y-intercept. So I'm going to go to 0, -5. And then I'm going to use my slope to find my second point. So down 3, right 4. And I'm going to, before I just draw a line, I have to see if it has an equal sign. It doesn't have an equal sign. So that means I'm going to use a dotted line. So when I graph this, I'm going to use a dotted line. That means that a solution to this inequality does not include any points on this boundary line. So the boundary starts after this dotted line. So it's either above the line or beneath the line. So at this point, you're going to have to plug in one of the points on this graph. You can plot any point on this entire plane. You can even plug in fractions, decimals, but you probably don't want to do that. The easiest point to check here is the origin, which is 0, 0. So let's plug in 0, 0 here, 0 for x, 0 for y, and see if we get a true statement. If you get a true statement, you shade in the direction of 0, 0. If you get a false statement, you shade opposite. So you shade beneath the line, the boundary line. Well, let's plug it in. So instead of putting y, I'm going to put 0, because I'm plugging in 0, 0. Okay, so I have 0, and then I have less than -3/4 x, but instead of writing x, I'm going to plug in 0, because I'm plugging in 0, 0 into here, -5. 0 times anything is just 0, so is 0 less than -5? Is that true or false? Class, is that true or false? It's false, right? 0 is greater than -5. So because 0, 0 is not a solution, I'm not going to shade in that direction. I'm going to shade in the direction that makes all the solutions true. So I'm going to shade this way. If you want to be extra, which it's always good to be a little extra, you can pick another point somewhere down here, like -10, -10, or something. Plug that in. You should get a true statement, because no matter what point you do beneath the line, it's going to be a true statement for this inequality. It's going to be a solution. Okay? Now you have an Edulastic. I believe it only has like 9 questions. You could check your answer twice. If you're having trouble with it at home, you can email me, or you can just wait to come back to school and I can teach you during lunch or after school. Take care, everybody.